All right.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
so
funny.
that's exciting shit, man. Yeah, I'll never miss another one.
Mm. I know. I envy that you guys have that like community up there because,
Fucking come up next time.
dude, I'm telling you, I gotta get my passport, and I will. Seriously, I
I'm
will do it.
serious.
Yeah. How often do they do that?
Once a year, I think.
Yeah.
So last year it was not a big thing. The taping queen and trying to think of who the other person was, but they brought people in, but it was just the store. So
Oh, okay.
they didn't have like a huge area like that. What they did today was perfect because
Yeah.
like I take up a lot of real estate when I'm in a room, right?
Yeah.
So when there's 100 people in a room, I'm like, fuck this room. There could have been 300 people in that warehouse. It wouldn't have
Yeah.
bothered me at all.
That's cool. So, what do they have? All the different brands there, basically.
Yeah. Certainteed was there. Those
Yeah.
the Wicked mechanical pencils.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't, this is super ignorant to be saying on a podcast, but I mean, like those people were there. I
Yeah.
should know the names of
Yeah.
these things. Yeah, there was lots of everything there.
That's
It
cool.
was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's cool too, like because like I wouldn't have met you if it wasn't for Instagram, right?
no
I
way.
wouldn't have connected with any of these guys. Oh, my bad. Any of these guys that like Brad and Brian and
Yeah,
Phil, these guys that I have really, if it wasn't for guys like them, I would have been way behind the eight ball on learning the auto tools. They were a
yeah,
huge leg up, Brad particularly, and well, I shouldn't say just Brad, all those guys, like
yeah,
because Brian has so much content, Phil has so much content. Like for like somebody just getting into it, if I could give any advice to any young guy or anybody just getting into auto tools, get your ass on Instagram and YouTube and just flood yourself with those videos and
yeah,
pay attention, watch because they all these guys have different little nuances of how they work, and you're gonna gain a lot from all of them. And no way is gonna be right for everybody,
yeah.
right? Everybody's going to have a little different way of going about things, but you can learn a lot from all these guys. And it's not just them. There's a lot of really great drywallers on Instagram. And that's what got me to the point of my work being where it is now. And I don't think of my work as anything spectacular,
I know
but
what you mean. Yeah, but it is.
it's just how I do
Yeah,
it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just how I do it. And I got it to that point because of guys like Brian and Phil and Brad asking
Mhm.
questions. Brad in particular has been really great for me because I just come out and ask a real just honest question, and he's
Yeah,
very straight to the point and has a really great response usually, and he's given me a lot as far as like especially when it comes to straightening everything out. He
yeah,
was key, he really
yeah.
was, and he gave me some of the best advice on that. And just keep your goddamn tools clean and don't look behind you, look ahead of you,
Yeah.
basically is how it goes. And that's about the best advice I could give on keeping your shit straight. you know
He actually kind of like the birth of the podcast idea. I went we hadn't seen each other in a while. We sat in his backyard and drank like a full case of beer till like
yeah
3 in the morning.
yeah, you guys got
We
wasted.
were fucking hammered. Yeah, like that was the third day in a row that I got hammered with
Mm,
people.
I remember. That's
It,
funny.
it was a weekend. Um, but yeah, I sat back and I was like, fucking, what if people were listening to this? I think his response was we'd be in deep shit because we had a lot of things to say about a lot of things. But I mean,
Wow.
that was one of the things that he talked about though, was like these guys from Australia, and he would reach
Oh
out,
man.
you know what I mean? And he would be like, so
Yes.
what's the key? What's the secret? And they're like, there's no secret
There's no
until
secret.
he got up here, and then they're
Yeah.
like, there's a secret, you know? But
Yeah.
don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anybody. Yeah. No, that's you don't want to give away all your secrets,
Well, you
right?
can't, right? Because
You can't. You
it's
can't
what
give
makes
away
you
all.
unique.
Yeah, and then like I guess not so much like for me, where most of the guys I talk to on Instagram are from Canada,
Yeah.
and there's only one guy that I follow on Instagram that's even from my area, and his work's not that great.
Yeah.
But but I would never if somebody was asking me how to run the boxes, aside from like my cousin that works with us, I
Yeah.
wouldn't like break it down for him. I'd be like, mix your mud up to to what you think would work, and then go from there.
That's what shitty accounts like mine are for. You can
yeah go follow Brawley's dad.
That's right. For all of the within your first year needs of
yeah.
We'll keep the rest of your guys' work looking better.
I would just tell everybody, go check out Drywall Nation and PRC Taping, Brad Hanna. Yeah. Those guys will set you straight.
Like the person whose brain I've picked the most is obviously Brad's, but I think the amount of content that I've ingested was PRC.
Yeah.
I met him today.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. I started fucking posting the pictures. And then I get a message from him. He's like, we didn't take any pictures today. But I'm like, I didn't want to be that. Hey, bro, can we we have some pictures? Same with Fresco Harmony. I didn't get a fucking picture with him either. There's a lot of people I didn't get pictures with. Anyways, but it is what it is. We'll have to do it again. But I really enjoy Phil's content.
Yeah,
and he just seems super humble, and everything just seems so smooth,
very
freeways and it just seemed right,
Can't hear my baby crying in the background, can you?
No,
okay, good. Mommy's on it.
That's right.
Thank God. Thanks, Mom.
Teamwork.
Yeah. Sick kids. Yeah. Cheers. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, sick so they're still sick, eh?
It's been a nightmare. Well, the baby, she's 9 months today, actually.
Congrats.
She got RSV and she seemed pretty good yesterday. And then last night did not sleep at all. I mean, she was up like 6 times screaming. And I don't know if it's just I don't know what the hell it is. She doesn't seem to have anything wrong with her aside of just not sleeping well. So I was hoping she'd sleep good tonight, but she's been down for an hour and she's already up. So that's not a good sign.
When you said that the other day, I was going to Google it, but I didn't.
It's a respiratory virus. I don't know the actual full name of it, but it's super contagious. It's basically like a cold, but it really affects babies and older people.
Yeah, okay.
Just because of the respiratory side of it. It's so aggressive and really fast to just spread. Usually if one kid gets it, anybody within their circle gets it. And it spreads really fast and it's contagious before they show symptoms. So it's just one of those things you can't keep track of.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter got it when she was a baby. It was a fucking nightmare. We've been through it before. It sucks. But it's just part of being a parent.
Oh, totally. What's the cough medicine situation down there?
Well, for her, where she's only 9 months, we can do these hippie fucking.
We do a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not to call it hippie, but lavender oils and whatever. It's just herbal supplement basically, but it does work. But you actually, because I had to take her to our urgent care, and they said give her a little Benadryl or Zyrtec because she had hives all over her. That was because she had a cough, but we didn't think anything of it, and then just covered in hives. We got a picture.
When they break out, man, you're like,
I'm
fuck.
Holy shit! So I bailed out of work, went got her, took her to walk-in care, and that was the other frustrating thing. I go in, sit there for half hour. Nurse comes in, looks her over. Okay, doctor will be in, wait an hour or whatever it was, 45 minutes. As I'm sitting there, the hives are going away. I'm watching the hives go away. You got to be shitting me. So luckily they tested
taking
her.
Pictures.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was ridiculous.
This was here, you dick. You took too long.
Yeah. It's crazy. But now luckily they tested her and we found out she had RSV, which we had plans to go to my parents for Thanksgiving, but my father has really, really bad lungs. And he's actually end stage COPD right now, which is pretty unfortunate. He's going to do a lung transplant years ago, but ended up not working out. So I don't dare bring anything like that to his house. It could be a death sentence for him. So we're gonna go tomorrow if the baby's all right, but we'll see what happens.
For the thanks of a visit,
we can put it off for a week.
Totally.
Right. I don't want to put my dad's life at risk just for a visit. Don't smoke cigarettes, kids.
Yeah, right.
Or crack.
Definitely don't smoke crack.
Or anything like that.
But if you do,
have fun.
Watch my podcast. Yeah, that's all it is. Give us a like and follow on 5 different accounts. Yeah, exactly. That's what we got to do. We'll start a marketing plan. Smoke crack and buy Columbia tools. I'm trying to remember. What her I feel bad now. I gotta look it up. What her handle is, but she's like one of my favorite people from the industry.
There's so many out
Oh,
there.
maybe it is her name. Anyways, it's Christy Slade.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it is her name. Yeah.
She was on
Every fucking
she was on Bruce's podcast, the
she's so
Flat
great,
Butts.
man. So yeah, she's been on the Drywall podcast.
Oh, that's I don't know if I listened. I did listen to her on Flat Butts.
Yeah.
That was a good podcast. I haven't listened to the other one, Drywall podcast, yet, but I definitely should.
She's like a cook too.
Yes, I've seen that on her page.
Yeah, so
pretty damn good cook.
She made everybody a big cookie like this.
I saw that. I saw the one she did for Ben.
Yeah,
that was rad.
So that was wicked, man. Yeah, she all fucking wound up last night doing it. So, I don't think I'll be able to give it to everyone, and she's just like so nervous. Yeah, I just thought that kind of shit was really cool. When you have those people that like just like go that little bit extra, right?
Really care. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's what I like about the online community is you get these real genuine people.
Yeah,
it's nice. I mean, you get these some guys in there that just want to cause hate and discontent, which whatever.
Totally.
Everybody's got an opinion. You're free to voice it. But
my stance on that shit was always like, if it happens on my page, I'm gonna drag you through the mud, right? And there'll be no more of that shit.
Yeah.
And then recently, it was on Columbia's page, and I didn't know. I thought it was mine because it was my content.
Oh, really?
And I fucking spoke up about it, and it turned into like a full day pissing match.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So and it was what it was. I was pretty frustrated with the day that I was having anyway, so I kind of let this guy have it.
Yeah.
But I ended up deleting it all. I think it's Raven Drywall.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's between the two of them.
Yeah.
She messaged me at the end of the day, and she's like, "I'm really disappointed in this."
Oh wow.
And I was just like, "Oh shit!" Like
Damn.
My stance on it was, there are people that don't handle stress like me out there, that it's going to make them get off the internet. You know what I mean? When people are being shitty like that.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, I think when you put yourself out there, like the way you're doing it anyways, you put so much content out, and now with the podcast, doesn't matter what you do, somebody's going to pick it apart.
100%.
I've always chosen not to be that guy. Everybody's got an opinion. If you don't agree with something, so be it. You don't have to blow it up.
Yeah.
You doing something a certain way doesn't affect me.
Exactly.
So why blow it up? That's just the way I look at it.
I still go through the comments for the good ones, and give a thumbs up when people comment. You comment back something, just be part of the community.
Yeah.
But if somebody's put a shitty comment in, I don't delete them, but I don't engage.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
It's just not worth the effort, right?
No, well, it just fuels the fire, right?
It's exactly it.
You're feeding into it,
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've always stayed away from that. It's just like, when you're a kid, nobody wants to be bullied. Why are you going to do it when you're an adult?
Totally.
It's just foolish. Where the whole reason that I'm even on Instagram for drywall is just to be able to connect with other drywallers and learn and help, answer a question once in a while to a guy who's looking for an answer. And, not that I'm a fountain of knowledge here, but if I can help somebody,
totally. Yeah.
Totally down with it. One of the guys I talked to a lot, SJ Taping, the guy's super nice guy and super humble and just so grateful when we talk. Just one of the coolest guys I've ever talked to, and dude's killing it. Just set himself up with some North Star stuff. Get a North Star taper. It's like, hell yeah, dude, kicking ass, and he's fucking
rock and roll. Yeah,
rock and roll, buddy. Let it have it. Yeah, no, I think I love it. That's what I love about it. Honestly, just talking to these guys, everybody. That's how I met you.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of my favorite encounters online is stuff like that, right? Like I've had a couple of guys that like very clearly they do their own shit. It's nothing enormous, but they reach out with a legitimate question. You kind of sit back, you're like I'll answer that, but I'm sure there's better people out there, but then you give them you answer the question, and then they come back with like that worked out mint, thanks. And that's huge.
Well, sometimes like, and I know for me learning like the bazooka, something that seems so obvious down the road was not obvious learning it. Little things, something like keeping it clean, keeping it lubed up, keeping your mud thin, knowing like for like it, just little things, just that to me, the one thing about keeping the bazooka running smooth is keeping the head clean. If you can keep the head and the wheel clean, you will have a lot less drag. You won't fight it. You know, that's the big thing. And it took me a year and a half, 2 years to really figure that out. Now I can tape 200 sheets and the wheel doesn't even have mud on it, you know. It's clean.
I love
Just
that shit.
once you get that tape, once you get your flow figured out, and that's another thing. Don't rush it. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. You're not backing up.
One of my favorite terms, right? I think that's a military term, right? For
shooting.
I
believe so.
Yeah.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
And it's true, man. It
is with all of it too. You know, if you, anytime I've ever tried to rush through anything, that's why I'm not a hot mud guy. I don't fuck with hot mudding. I will like on a seat, like a small ceiling, but I rarely do those. But anytime I do that, it's always like, it looks good. You know, you step back and you take a wide angle picture of it. It looks good. You put a light on it. It looks like shit. Let's be honest.
Oh, wow.
That ceiling's going to take an hour to sand. So, you know.
It's fucking cement too.
Yeah.
Now this last house that I did for the guy that I did the contract work for, he couldn't find a decent taper, and like my patch game is fucking mint now.
Nice.
It like stuff that I thought was just going to be fucked. His kitchen had a beam in it, and we raised it. Oh, not we, but I came in after the fact. So he had like a 4-foot chunk missing left to right, and then like 7 or 8 big holes where they've moved electrical and all that other kind of shit. And we looked at that, and he's like, "This is never going to look good, but let's try our best," kind of thing. And we boarded it all up, kind of shimmed it where it needed to be, V-notched everything, did all the hot mud. And then I ran a 10, 12, 14 on everything. And it looks fucking beautiful. Like, nice. I mean, even like the holes that were this big, I ran you know what I mean? Like went way overkill. But, you know, you were doing a good job. But then some of the smaller stuff, like just little patchwork, put it in, and then I used 20. And then in some spots where it was really bad, I did a quick 20 and then did 90 with the tape, and then came back and did a skim all first day, and then second day, like you might skim it again, but at that point you don't need to. Like in a lot of cases you don't need to. And something like that would have been a 3-day process. So
absolutely.
Years ago.
No, I do some jobs for a friend of mine. I used to work for him actually before I was taping full time. He's a paint contractor, and I do some sub work for him now. I just did one where they had taken a bunch of this commercial company had taken a bunch of FRP off the walls, and it had like ripped the paper off, and it was just like a section 4 feet up, about 18 inches wide, in a bunch of rooms. And then they had removed a bunch of shelving and stuff. I love those jobs because I had like 8 hours in it. Pays like $1,500. And then I had just picked up a set of skimming blades. I'm like, hell yeah, time to bust these out. It was like the graviest work you could ever ask for. Seal it up, bond it, skim it, leave it. Barely have to sand it. Stuff like that. That's, I don't know. When I get older, I'm probably just going to lean into that because it's so easy.
Honestly, man.
Honestly.
There's going to be a market for it. There's some stupid statistic up here where it's like in 2035, 700,000 tradespeople are going to retire. Like that year.
Wow.
That's 750,000 jobs.
Holy cow.
And those aren't guys that are just starting. Those are like probably the best in the business.
Yeah. Well, that's why that was... My cat's doing something weird. Sorry.
Nice.
He's fucking up with something. But
he's just like
he likes to knock stuff off the table. But that was one of the main reasons why I decided to stick with just drywall, because I saw very quickly there was a huge demand for it, and there's not a lot of guys in my area, and I'm sure it's probably that way everywhere, but there's so few guys that do it around here where I live. There's so much work to go around. You don't have to undercut anybody. If you're trying to undercut, there's a reason. Like, you're not getting work, and my uncle had approached me because I was painting at the time, and I was doing patchwork. I had done some decent sized drywalling, but I was not a drywaller I was not a finisher at that time. But I had saw the demand for it, big time demand, and he had given me he was like, he basically said, I'm not looking for an employee, I'm looking for a partner, because I'm less than 10 years away from retiring, and I either hand it off to somebody or I just shut it down, because he had his boys working for him, but it just wasn't working out. It was one of those situations where anytime dad gives you criticism, they just think he's being an asshole and they can't take it. So they're out, I'm in, and it's worked. The best partner I've ever had working. The guy, 6 foot, 300 pounds, works like a fucking dog.
That's me.
Can work circles around young guys, dude. It's insane. Big beer belly. The guy just works circles around young guys. It's insane. And took about a solid year to get me into full finishing, because I wasn't really a finisher at that time. And at that time, he was also a straight dry hand taper. There was no tubes, nothing. This was everything we did was all hand taping. We averaged probably 120 to 150 sheets a week, and then we stepped that up to 400 by hand. Yeah, and so that was the big jump we made. So we went from 120 to 150 sheets. And when you're hand finishing too, the way we were doing it was our second coat on a flat was a 14-inch trowel. Our skin was a 16, so it was a ton of mud, and it took forever to dry. So you definitely had a day in between where it wasn't drying. Either stay home or you doll it up, do what you can. But it was a 7-8 day process to do 150 sheets. Now we're more than double that. So that's, to me, that speaks volumes on the auto tools. Anybody interested in getting into it and you're a hand finisher, if you want to be a production guy, bite the bullet, take a loan out if you have to, buy a setup, watch some videos. Level 5 has great deals on setups if you want to go that route.
Columbia Tools better than Level 5.
Columbia Tools, Hey, Columbia, I want a 14, just in case you're listening.
That worked for me.
I don't have that in me. Be like, hey guys, I need some free tools. I was floored that Can-Am even sent me what they did.
You were so excited.
I was so pumped. Actually, it came from TK Drywall, or his wife, Muddy Girl.
Okay.
She had reached out. She was like, you use any Can-Am? Like, no. She's like, you want to? I'm like, hell yeah. And then Wolfgang called me. I was actually sitting on my couch with my wife, and I was hammered, sitting here drinking tequila. And I'm like, oh my God, Wolfgang's calling me. I'm like, hey, I'll be right back. Business call, babe.
Yeah, I'm a professional.
How about professional drywall?
Yeah, I do tape. That's amazing. What a humble human being, though, eh?
Yeah, very.
I never would have known. I never would have known.
Really great quality products, man. Seriously. And I just love it. Really do. And I'm definitely a lifelong customer for those guys. Their poles are legit.
Yeah, they've got a twist lockers. Yeah, I was gonna ask. Yeah,
they're so nice. They're so smooth, and they're like, I have the shorter ones. They're great for closets on the nail spotters. They're just awesome. They really are. Love them. I'm actually planning to buy a 60-inch tube just for certain things. Like, pulling an angle box on 12-foot lids is a pain in the ass.
Okay.
If you ever done it, it sucks. And
so you would put the angle head on the end of the tube?
I would probably flush them at that point.
Okay.
For me, only because it's generally a garage, tube it, flush it off the floor. Even if I got to put my minis on, you know what I mean? But I can see the benefit on that side of it. Totally. Like I said, I don't think I would move full time to flusher heads for everything, but that would be the situation where I would 100% do it, because they offer the long tube. That reach is there. It's so hard for me, at least for me, to pull an angle box on anything 12 foot and up. It's a pain in the ass. And
Yeah, because
Nine times
you
out
got
of
to be
10.
way up here, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and I gotta
yeah,
be on I gotta jack my stilts up, and you're trying to get
yeah.
leverage without falling on your ass. It's hard, man. It's nerve wracking.
I
It
think
really is.
about that, taking a tumble on stilts, like,
Yeah,
because
I
you,
haven't taken one yet. I've taken one, but I was getting off of them.
well, knock on wood for you there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we're gonna buy a lift.
Yeah,
I think
honestly,
we are.
when you were like, we're gonna back a fucking lift up into this house, I was like, yes, this is how we do.
You should have seen us get it out of there. That was sketchy.
Let me see your glass. It looks like it's a cool one like this. Is it
Little
like
whiskey.
a,
Yeah, like a little whiskey glass.
yeah, I like that shit.
Yeah, buddy.
That's the way to do it,
Yeah.
I think, anyways.
No, that house we put the lift in, that was the big one, the big
Yeah,
one. It was like
yeah.
I don't even, like 600 sheets, something like that. And that guy ended up cutting like 8 grand off the bill on that house. He's a
Why?
uh
Just like fuck you.
yeah, basically. He was like, I don't see where the price is on that. It was a whole ordeal. I was not involved on the pricing on it.
Yeah,
And that was basically after that happened, we had the conversation of anything over a certain amount of money, put a contract on it.
Yep.
You know, it's okay to have a handshake on these guys that you've been working with for years.
yeah,
Yeah. But when you're talking this scope of work, million
totally.
plus dollar houses, you have got to get a down payment and you got to have a contract and a set price. No handshake.
Yeah, we lost our fucking ass. Like, I don't want to say 20 grand last year, but I bet you if I added it all up, it'd be close.
Ugh, that
For
sucks.
the amount of times where it was like I would do the lion's share of the work, and we would get to like the second checkpoint, and there would be this hesitation,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, what's with the hesitation?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, and
seriously.
yeah, and I definitely came into a situation at least twice where I walked away from it going, well, they're good at doing that. You know,
Yeah, they're
like
good
that.
at
That's
not
how they
paying.
do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, you have to have a contract. Well, like this fucking kitchen job was a friend of the person that designed my clothing.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah,
No shit.
I'll do everyone a favor for sure, right?
Yeah.
There was probably half as much money as should have been on the table, but we're like,
Wow.
we'll do it, right? No
Yep.
problem.
Yeah.
I had a designer that I wanted to test out, like a kitchen designer, see how that goes, kind of thing. So
Yep.
it was the appropriate,
Yeah. Perfect time to do it.
everybody wins kind of
Yeah.
deal.
Not enough money on the table to really go crazy, but you can test some things out.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And I stopped. I think we quoted 30 hours of labor, and I stopped counting at 100. Yeah. And it was just because like we took the cabinets down, and there was like a plumbing stack running through the fucking 8 inches out kind of thing. Like it was just a bunch of hidden stuff that you didn't know, and it just all started adding up, and it was just like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah,
like,
you picked the scab and it started to bleed.
it
That
sure
sucks.
did. But you have to lose your ass on some of these things to like get to
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
it brings you back to the place where you're like, you have to have contracts.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's for you and the customer, right? Too.
Yes.
Where
Well,
you know, you're also buying into an agreement, right?
well, absolutely. And like the way I've been looking at it for us, because we're just truck rollers. Yeah,
Mhm.
right. Every job is more or less treated the same. There's a process. It's done by board count. We have a sheet price. That's just how we do it. And but there comes a point where you break that certain money amount.
Yeah.
Where, okay, we're going to be on this job for more than 2 weeks with no money coming in.
Yeah.
Granted, it's just my uncle and I, but we still have to have operating money. And there has to be some kind of agreement here on either a down payment, or halfway through we get a check, or at least we know it's going to take us 4 weeks. The day we finish, there needs to be a set price and there needs to be a check in the hand, because we're not a big company. We have to be able to pay our bills. We have to be able to put fuel in our trucks and then start the next job and wait a week and a half, 2 weeks to, not get our money.
Totally.
And this guy, basically, the big problem with the guy that burned us was for the last 15 years, he had a guy on the books doing his drywall for like $20 an hour. So that's the value he puts on drywall.
Well, he understands what it costs to bring a $20 an hour guy in. Yeah.
Right. Well, he got a rude awakening because he ended up hiring another guy on the books, and the house, because the house we did was like 1.6 million or something. Big ass house.
That's American for everyone listening.
Yes.
Yeah,
$12 not Colombian dollars.
Canadian. Yeah, that's not rupees. Yeah.
And and the whole shit show with that house was, granted, the board count was insane.
Yeah, of course.
We showed up. The day I started it, my uncle left for a trip to Lake Ontario for a fishing trip for 10 days. He comes back. The day he comes back, the contractor shows up. Oh, hey, by the way, we're wrapping all the windows. There was 50 windows on the first floor. On top of that, every window was J-channeled and they're black. You can't put tearaway on a J-channeled window because that's your finished profile.
Mm-hmm.
So it just adds another element of trying to make that look right, because you can't square it out. You can try with like a jumbo bead, but it's not going to be square because you're raising that little outside edge.
Well, and then you don't want everything like this either, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to get mud on the black window. So we're like, how do we negate this problem? We tried a bunch of different things. We tried sliding paper tape and then stuffing the board in, and then cutting the paper afterward. Just added smart. As a buff. Well, it did work. It added a lot of work on up front, just fixing it. But that was the other problem, was this house was not built for return, like drywall return windows. Generally, when they do that, they like prep it for drywall. Yeah, they square them up, so you just screw your drywall and it's square. These were not set up. So my uncle literally had weeks just boarding them, installing the bead. It was just a nightmare. My uncle didn't touch anything but windows on this house the entire time we were there. I did everything. The whole house was just me, aside from him doing windows. I'm like, motherfucker, this is so much goddamn work.
You're exhausted and he just wants to kill himself. Yeah.
And then we rent a lift, get it in there. And the day we go to leave, because we could only pull it out the back door. It was like 3 inches of rain, couldn't get out the back. So we had to like ramp it up to the main floor of the house and then work our way through.
Pray to God that
it doesn't bust through the floor.
You have a lift in your basement, by the way. That was it's yours now.
He okayed it. The contractor okayed it. He's like, "Oh no, you're good." And then as we're moving it, shit's like crunching, like holy fuck. But we got out of there free and clear. Well, I say free and clear. We lost $8,000 on it, but
yeah, he got out of there free and clear.
Yeah, it is what it is. So you got to take those hits. It is what
you have to, and it's just like anything else. You got to fail, right? And sometimes it's decisions, and sometimes it's work, but you have to. It's the only way to learn. Yeah.
Well, I think that's like it helps you see the red flags down the road. You know, for me, full transparency, I'm not the guy that bids our jobs. I am the boots on the ground guy. My uncle, this is my uncle's company. High Cut Drywall is not my company. It is my uncle's company. I am his guy. I'm his number two. That's what I do, is he lines them up, and I'm the main guy that basically hammers these houses out. And so when we go in and he tells me what it is, what it's worth, it doesn't mean much to me because I get paid like a day rate basically on his jobs, and he treats me well. But when that job happened, I'm like, Randy, we have to back up and think about this logically. You know, if I'm going to be your partner, we have to, cover our asses on this. One loss isn't a big deal. If this happens multiple times in a year, that's a big deal. So, and then you start paying attention to these potential red flags. And for me, anytime we meet with a new person, what I look for is, are they trying to be like buddy with you, or are they all business? Because the all business guys are the ones that I want to work for. I don't want to work with a guy that's like trying to be my friend and hand me beers while we're talking to him. They're at the end, they're going to try and undercut.
Sign here.
Hey, since you're here, can you fix this huge patch that we had to cut out because the plumber's a retard? Whatever. Something that I can't. I can't. That's just the things that I've learned, because I'm not the guy in charge, really. I just, I'm a glorified laborer, really. So
I love that.
Well, that's just where I shine.
Glorified laborer.
Yeah.
But in carpentry, drywall, and all that, there's no certificates, right? We kind of all are. You're just really glorified.
Yeah, most guys like look down on the drywall, like, oh, that's just dirty. We were doing a house last fall, and I walked out to my car. I was actually driving my wife's car today because I was having my transmission replaced to my truck. I walk out to my wife's car, I'm loading my tools in, I'm covered in mud, and the guy pulls in to suck the shit out of the porta-john, and he gets out and he looks at me, he goes, oh, drywall, I could never do that. I just
guys driving the honey truck, fucking judging you.
I'm like, yeah, but you want to suck shit out of the porta shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, whose job's really worse here? It's all perspective, obviously, but
and his pays $25 an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he jumped out with his pit vipers on,
Oh yeah.
Loving life. Nothing wrong with pit vipers.
Yeah. All right. I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. Mine were fake.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. And they were $15. I was
Did the
looking
paint
for the
come
most
off on your face?
No, but they did fall apart once. I was looking for the most obnoxious fucking pair of glasses that I could find, because I was like, okay, Instagram's going pretty good right now. I need to like fucking ramp it up a little bit.
Doll it up.
And then I had that joke with people where I was like, I hope other people buy these fucking glasses because they like them. And then I started seeing them everywhere, and I was just like, oh, I gotta stop this shit. Like, because the guys that wear them, and you're like, this isn't funny anymore.
Hey, we're running out of time here. We got a minute left.
I was just about to say that. We were on a good one. Okay, well, what do you, another one?
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, fucking bring.
Let's do it. I still got half a bottle here, so let's do one more.
All right, bud.
Send me a link.
I will. I'll email it in 2 seconds here.
All right, bud.